Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Brigadier Leto. I'm an incoming fifth-year student, and the title for my study is on the effects of calcium and vitamin D supplementation on phytate-induced rickets in male Sprague-Dawley rats. My supervisors for this study were Dr. Teresa Kiama and Dr. Teresa Mwendwa. Headlines, we have some newspaper articles there where we are seeing that more and more children in Kenya are diagnosed with rickets or are presenting with symptoms that seem to suggest that they are suffering from rickets. And the culprit for this is seemingly the porridge that they take that is supposed to give them calcium is apparently causing them to have rickets. And this is made worse by the fact that Kenya, like any other sub-Saharan country, is a country that receives optimum sunshine for the entire year. And that, like we've learned in physiology, whenever you have optimum sunshine, you have enough vitamin D, and therefore you do not expect African children, especially those living in the sub-Saharan Africa, to be suffering from rickets. And these children are also getting porridge that their parents think is adequate in its calcium, phosphate, and vitamin D supply, because they mix several cereals to come up with this porridge. So the more the cereal combination, the more nutritious the parents think. But apparently, this kind of porridge is dangerous to the children. The culprit for all this is phytic acid. And phytic acid is a component of cereals. It's found in beans, sorghum, maize, millet, and phytic acid is it's a component of, it contains phosphate and it's found in every cereal. And it's required for germination. And when the plant is germinating, the phytic acid provides the energy that is required for the seed to germinate. So this phytic acid has an effect in causing rickets in that it binds to the calcium and phosphate and therefore preventing its absorption in the GI. The more the cereal combination, the more the amount of phytic acid in these cereals, in the porridge flour that you are able to process, and therefore they have the effect. So once you've ground your porridge, you have the phytic acid, it binds to calcium in the GI, therefore leading to hypocalcemia, and this triggers the PTH axis, which leads to the pathogenesis of rickets. And there is just a diagram to show how phytic acid binds to calcium in the GI. So my research question is, what is the effect of calcium and vitamin D supplementation on this kind of rickets? So first of all, I wanted to establish, does this porridge cause rickets? And second, can we find a solution to it? Can we find something that would reverse these rickets that is commonly available in our hospitals? And that's why I looked for calcium and vitamin D supplementation, because these are common supplements that can be found in any hospital. So what I did is I designed a study. It had two phases. It's an experimental study containing 35, it was involving 35 male rats, and I divided the rats into two. The first group, I was giving them the standard rat diet that contains all the supplements needed, and the second group, I fed with the high phytic porridge diet for a period of 6 weeks. And then after 6 weeks, I took the group that I was feeding with the porridge, I divided it into two groups. For one group, I supplemented or I treated with the vitamin D and calcium, and for the other group, I let it continue on the high phytic porridge diet. And after analyzing my results, first of all, you can see that for the first 6 weeks, the induction phase, the normal control group, or the group that is taking the normal rat diet, is having like a consistent increase in weight, while the groups that were taking the porridge, they are lagging behind in terms of their weight gain. It's not very bad, but it's something that was unique to see. After I intervened, or after I started my treatment, for the group that was receiving vitamin D, their weight gain was also a bit higher and consistent as compared to that was not receiving treatment. I also checked the serum calcium levels after the intervention phase, that is after week 6. And one thing that was really clear is that the group that was taking the porridge, the high phytic porridge diet, the serum calcium level was significantly lower as compared to the serum calcium level in the group that was just taking the normal rat diet with all the supplements. After intervening, that is during week 8, the group that was taking the porridge diet and then it was supplemented, you can see that the calcium levels in their serum shot, and then the group that was not intervened, that is the negative control group, the serum calcium levels remained low. I also checked the serum alkaline phosphatase activity. Serum alkaline phosphatase is an enzyme that is very much involved in bone metabolism, and the levels increase whenever there is increased breakdown of bone. And this is because of PTH, as the body is attempting to return the calcium levels to where they normally belong. Yeah. So whenever we see alkaline phosphatase shooting, then it means that there is decreased calcium, and therefore the body is trying to produce calcium from the bone. So as you can see, after week 6, the group that was taking the high phytic acid diet, there is a shoot in the alkaline phosphatase level to the over and above 200 international units, which is significant for rickets. And after intervening, you see the group that received the treatment or the positive control, the levels are going down, while the group that did not receive any treatment, the levels remain high. I also did Raman spectrophotometry on the blood samples for the groups, and Raman is basically introducing laser to a sample, and once you introduce laser to a sample, you get feedback intensities that you record. So we identified the vitamin D3 intensities, and therefore after introducing laser, we were able to detect the feedback intensities that were coming from the vitamin D in the samples. So as we can see, the experimental group, or the group that was not feeding on the normal calcium, the normal rat diet, the one that was taking high phytic porridge, you can see you have high intensities of vitamin D, showing that there's increased vitamin D concentration in their blood. And after treatment, you see that the negative control group, the vitamin D levels are still high, that is the red graph. And then the treatment group is still high, but that could be as a result of the fact that they are receiving vitamin D supplementation. But one thing that's important for you to see is that the group that is not receiving treatment is still having high concentrations of vitamin D. I also did bone histology for the bone, and one thing that was clear is for the group that was taking the high phytic porridge diet, you have a distortion in their growth plate. You also have an increased hypertrophic zone. All these are histological signs of decreased bone mineralization, therefore rickets. You can also see there is bulging of the costochondral junction, and these were bones from the ribs, and this is also a very, very clinical sign of rickets called rachitic rosaries. So on my discussion is, first of all, it's clear to see that the rats that were taking the high phytic porridge diet had low calcium in their serum. Therefore, the phytic diet is able to reduce calcium absorption in the GI, therefore leading to rickets. The group that received treatment, you can see the calcium levels going back to normal. On the alkaline phosphatase, the group that was feeding the high phytic porridge diet, you see the alkaline phosphatase levels are going up. Therefore, there's increased bone breakdown as the body is attempting to return the calcium levels to normal, and therefore the bones are weakening and rickets is developing. As for the vitamin D intensity, the reason why we have high concentration of vitamin D in the group taking the high phytic porridge is also an attempt of the body to try to return the calcium levels to normal. Yeah, and treatment shows that the vitamin D levels in the group that was being treated are still high, mainly because they are receiving the supplementation, therefore they are absorbing more vitamin D, therefore we have high serum vitamin D. So therefore, And also the widened control junction, the widened control junction, and the distortion of the growth plate, again showing that there is rickets in the rats that were taking the high phytate porridge diet. So therefore, the diet, the porridge that we've grown with is shown to have some dangerous effects on our children. This is porridge that all of us, 99% of us, have been taking, and therefore we need a solution to it. Yes, it can cause rickets. Do we put our porridge aside? No. You can still maintain the porridge, reduce the combination, therefore reducing the phytic acid levels, and just administer vitamin D and calcium supplementation. And that is able to improve the rickets in our children. That's all from me. Those are my references. Thank you very much.